Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's Cabinet meeting. I'm Councillor Seb Lowe, Chairman of the meeting. Before we begin, I'm obliged to read out the following notice. There is no fire drill scheduled in the building this evening. If the fire alarm sounds, therefore, please could I ask that you make your way down the main staircase, out of the main doors of the Town Hall and congregate at the entrance to Caldecott Park. An officer of the Council will then give instructions when it is safe to re-enter the building. Moving on to the formal agenda for this evening's meeting, item number 1 is to confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 8th of November. Any members of the Cabinet, or all members of the Cabinet, happy to sign off the minutes? Thank you very much. I will sign those minutes. Item number 2 is apologies for absence. Do we have any apologies for absence, Executive Director?
Chair, we have apologies this evening from Councillor Mrs O'Rourke, and in her place today we have Councillor Mystery.
Thank you and welcome, Councillor Mystery. Item number 3 is declarations of interest. First of all, do we have any declarations of non-pecuniary interest as defined by the Council's Code of Conduct for Councillors? No. And do we have any declarations of pecuniary interests as defined by the Council's Code of Conduct for Councillors? No. And finally, any notice under Section 106 Local Government Finance Act 1992, non-payment of community charge or council tax? No. Okay, moving on then. Item number 4 is question time. Do we have any questions, Executive Director?
Chair, we have one question this evening. The question and the answer has been published on our website and circulated to all members. The question's from Rebecca Stevenson regarding the minutes from the Climate Change Summit, and the response has been that a full recording of the meeting has been made available, which has been preferable to producing the minutes.
Thank you. Okay, moving on then to item number 5, which is with you, Councillor Robbins. It is the calendar of meetings.
Yes, Chair, this is obviously something comes around every year. It's just the calendar of meetings for the year 22-23, which is there for approval of Cabinet.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder, please?
I'll second that, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Poole. Councillor Roodhouse, do you wish to say anything on this important item?
No, but Councillor Bill Lewis sent his comments in earlier on about, I think, about one date that he saw, which Veronica thanked him for.
I look forward to seeing Councillor Lewis's comments when they filter through to me. And Councillor Mystery, any comments from you on this one?
No. Chair.
Thank you. In that case, I will put this to a vote of Cabinet. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Item number 6 is the Council Tax Reduction Scheme 2022-2023, which is with you, Councillor Crane.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This report is recommending the adoption of a council tax reduction scheme for next year, and it's essentially the same scheme as we've got in place at the moment. So I'd move the report.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder from the Cabinet, please? Councillor Poole?
I'll second that, Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Roodhouse, any comments?
Recognise that this is going to full council as well, isn't it, for adoption, and that we're staying really status quo really on what we've got, but any further comments that I may make will for full council.
That is something for us to look forward to as a pre-Christmas treat. Thank you very much. And Councillor Mystery, any comments?
No, Chair, thank you.
Thank you. I will now put this to a vote. All those in favour? That is passed unanimously. Thank you. Item number 7 is the Draft Housing Revenue Account Capital and Revenue Budget 2022-2023, which again is with you, Councillor Crane.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This report is sharing with Cabinet essentially the first draft of the HRA revenue and capital budgets, along with the medium-term financial plan for next year. So I move the report.
Thank you. And do we have a seconder from the Cabinet, please?
I'm already there, Chairman. I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor Poole. Councillor Roodhouse, any comments?
Just a couple of comments really, going through. I was just wondering how we're doing on the voids, because that's a continuing pressure that's building, and of course any reduction we can make on voids helps the budget going forward. And I do welcome that we started to see in these reports the climate change elements for the future works that we're going to be doing on our stock. But I just wonder, you know, are we going quick enough on that, and should we be trying to accelerate that in some way?
Thank you, Councillor Roothouse. In response, I mean, we are going as fast as we can on the retrofitting. We're applying for the funding as it comes up, and we're doing everything we can to gather the data. So, and certainly, if we can accelerate it, we will.
Councillor Mistry?
Just quick, I think we'll save it for the council tax, council rent increase when the time comes. So I think at this point we'll just leave it and leave our powder dry. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll put it to a vote then. All those in favour? That is unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to item number 8, which has a rather lengthy title, the Department for Levelling Up Housing and Communities Local Digital Fund Round 5 Bid DIP Submission. Councillor Crane, this is again with you for the final time this evening.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I won't try and repeat the title, but I've heard that we can call it D-Lock now. Anyway, I think this is a really good news story. This report is essentially requesting a capital budget for this year to administer 350,000 of grant funding, which Rugby is going to be receiving. And it's going to be developing a digital platform on behalf of a group of other councils that it's in partnership with. And it's a way of enhancing our waste management system. So I think this will be a really good thing for customers and make things simpler and easier to access. So I welcome this.
Thank you, Councillor Crane. Councillor Lawrence, did you wish to second this and say anything?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, it really is a good news story and fantastic news that we've been successful with this money. Not only will it improve the customer experience, but also it will lead to greater efficiencies with the waste services operations. So well done to all involved.
Thank you. Councillor Roothouse, any comments?
Yeah, I mean, on the reading of this report, there certainly seems like some good initiatives coming through that digital platforms now they work. When we get to changing the website as well, of course, it'll all integrate into one. But I did note, as Councillor Lawrence has said about the waste and the recycling elements to that. And it's interesting, of course, that the refuse freighters, they'll get live information if they've missed a bin, if I read it correctly, and which will come through as long as everything's registered, of course, through the system. And that's going to be the key thing, isn't it? Getting individual residents to make sure that they've registered properly on the system.
Thank you. Councillor Mistry?
Yeah, I welcome the report, Chair. It's nice to see some money coming this way, and it will support the council going forward. Thank you.
Okay, I will put this to a vote then. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you. You'll be pleased to know you're off the hook for the rest of the meeting now, Councillor Crane. Item number 9 is with me, essentially, which is the urgent decision under delegated powers consultation for South Warwickshire Council proposal. The report has now been circulated and I move it from the Chair. Any seconder from the Cabinet, please?
I'll second it, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Poole. Councillor Roothouse.
Yeah, as you know from the comments that I made on it, I believe Warwick and Stratford are making their decision December the 13th is when they're debating this. And if they pass it that night, there'll then be a letter going down to London to the Secretary of State to ask for them to start the governance element of it, which will be interesting to see what then happens, of course. But there is at some stage, I think the question we're asking is when should this council actually start having a broader debate and open discussion about that? And I'm seeking your assurances that we can have that at some stage, not in 2-3 years' time, but possibly we do need some form of discussion about that.
I'm very happy to give you that assurance, Councillor Roothouse. I think it's not a debate that I've ever shied away from. Indeed, we've spoken about it as a council and indeed informally on many occasions. I think as far as the matter in hand is concerned, ultimately what Stratford and Warwick are trying to do is merge to form a super district, and that is their prerogative, that is their right, and we wish them well with it. In terms of that particular decision, that will have very, very limited, if indeed any, impact on us. The shared services we have with them are virtually non-existent, and really it makes no difference to us, and as our neighbours, we wish them well. But you are correct, there is a broader debate that needs to be had, and I think we're getting towards the time when we can have that debate. It certainly won't be 2-3 years down the line. Councillor Mistry.
Yeah, I just echo what Councillor Rudolph has just said. And been here long enough like he has, 30 odd years. And I find it very strange that items are put on, delegated power and report to follow lateness. That I've never seen. And if it's not financial involvement, and this item could have come to the council to be debated, it's important and it's critical that, when things are going on in Warwickshire, that it will have a direct impact. And I'm just echoing, what he just said, and to remind that delegated power, if there is no financial involvement, should come to the council. And also, and when you get report to follow all the time, every meeting that you see, report to follow, we don't get time to read all this, yeah? So I'll leave it at that, Chair.
Thanks, Councillor Mistry, for your comments. I mean, what I would say is that I think it's very easy to get slightly sidetracked around this item that we're talking about. This has nothing to do with broader changes that will happen that will affect us in any meaningful way. This is just simply a case of our neighbours merging to form a district. It will reduce the number of district councils in Warwickshire by 1, but actually in terms of the impact that has on us, very, very limited, and we wish them well with it. Okay, we have a proposer and a seconder. Councillor Roberts has joined us but cannot vote on this item, but I understand can vote on the next item. Welcome, Councillor Roberts. So, with the exception of Councillor Roberts, can I ask members of Cabinet to indicate their support, please? That is passed unanimously. Item number 10 is a motion to exclude the public under section 100A4 of the Local Government Act 1972. I ask Cabinet to consider the following resolution under section 100A subsection 4 of the Local Government Act 1972. The public be excluded from the meeting for the following items on the grounds they involve the likely disclosure of information defined in paragraphs 1, 2 and 3 of Schedule 12A of the Act. Will you second me, Councillor Paul?
Certainly, Chairman.
Thank you very much. All those in favour? That is passed unanimously. Could we cease the live stream, please?